Good afternoon, students. My name is Srima Jeevan. I am dealing the community health and nursing. So, unit number 4, the epidemiology and the nursing management of common communicable diseases. So, in the last classes and all, we has learned about the infectious intestinal communicable diseases and all. So, depending upon the sources and we has learned here. So, intestinal infections we are learning. This is the 9th one. We are going for the continuity class for the last. So, is the 9th one is ascariasis. So, what is ascariasis means? Introduction we are going for learning. Ascariasis is a type of roundworm infection only. So, this infection have no symptoms in more than the 85% of the cases. So, in case of this ascariasis, most of the 85% of the cases you can't able to go for seeing the symptoms and all. And if especially if the number of worms is very small. Okay, so this number of worms is very small in rate. So because of that one, and there won't be showing any of the symptomatic reactions or symptomatic nature. Then incubation period. So the incubation period for the ascariasis is very rare only. It will be having knowing about the incubation period. So in the first period symptoms and all, it may be showing us a fever, then cough and shortness of breathing and all. So it may take time for the infection towards the symptomatic reactions. You can't able to predict the incubation period here. Okay, so incubation period, the time from the infection to the symptoms we can able tell, but here the symptoms expressions, because it will be vary from one person towards the next person as per their immunity levels and all. So what happened here means, from the time of infection to the symptomatic reaction, we can able to tell us here as a incubation period. It will be vary from one person towards the next person, because some person they will be exhibiting the fevers and also it will can able to start from there. So incubation periods and also maybe as if it is migrating towards the lungs for the first weeks of infections and all, and in some cases it won't be going towards the lungs and all. Okay, so comprehensively we can able to tell the incubation period is will be varying from one person towards the next person. Okay, next one is causative organism. So it is a roundworm only. So it is Ascaris lumbricoides we are calling. So maybe it can be as a female one or a male one. So male and the female Ascaris lumbricoids are there, which can cause the human Ascaris. So this Ascaris can be found in other animals like dogs and all. So this Ascaris lumbricoid, that is female and the male, which will be causing the human ascariasis. That is roundworm only. Ascariasis is a roundworm only. So that's about the introduction, incubation period and the causative organism. Then we'll go towards the mode of transmissions, how it will be transferring. Okay, so how it will transmit means, so occurrence, it is mainly by the injection of contaminated food or water with egg. Okay, so ascariasis egg which is present, it may be in the food, contaminated food or contaminated water. If peoples are taking those waters which consisting of ascariasis egg, that is ascariasis lumbricoid egg is present in the particular food or a water which is consuming. So it is the first mode of transmission. Then second one is occasionally by inhaling of contaminated dust with eggs. So not only through the contaminated water and the food, it can be transmitted through the air also. That is, if a person is inhaling contaminated dust which consisting of ascariasis lumbricoid egg is present means, in that case also it can be a mode of transmission. Then third one, children which is playing in a contaminated soil. So if this soil which consisting of eggs of the Ascariasis lumbricoid means, that also is one of the mode of the transmission. So here mostly the kids and all, they will go for playing in a contaminated soil, may acquires the parasite from their hands and all. So you kids and all means without hand washing they will have the food and all. So after playing in the soils and all, so you can able to prevent that all the things by hand washing and all. Perfect hand washing you can able to do. So that is a mode of transmission. So mode of transmission is, first one is through the contaminated food, contaminated water, which is consisting of eggs of the Ascariasis, and second one is through the contaminated dust, then contaminated soil. So these are the mode of transmission of Ascariasis. Then we'll go to the Ascariasis symptoms. So what are the symptoms which is there in case of Ascariasis? And before itself I have told that the most of the people, they won't be showing the symptoms in the first stage and all. So once it is reaches the lungs and all, we most people, they are showing the symptoms like breathing difficulties and all. Let me go for that one. So first point, it says that many people do not show the symptoms. And next one is, if they start for the symptoms and all, it becoming as phases will be there. So lung phase, okay, once it reaches the lungs, so we are calling as Ascaris pneumonitis. Okay, it become as a Ascaric pneumonitis. So in this condition, the patient will be expressing the coughing, sneezing, then shortness of breath, and sometimes you can't able to go for diagnose what it is that. So which type of pneumonitis is there. So pneumonitis, which is caused by the Ascariasis lumbricoides. So here what happens is, most of the people won't be showing the symptoms and all. Once it is reaches towards the lungs and all, they are showing the symptoms like coughing, sneezing, wheezing, breathing difficulties and all. So in that cases, first stage and all, we can't able to diagnose that condition and all. Once we are going for doing the image scanning and all, you can able to understand it's a Ascaris pneumonitis. Okay, next one is intestinal phase. So once the lumbricoid, the Ascaris lumbricoid reaches towards the intestine, so we are calling that one as a intestinal phase. So here in this case, the patient will be having vague to severe abdominal pain will be there, then nausea, vomiting, weight loss or malnutrition will be there, then diarrhea and bloody stool. So in this case, that is in this phase, that is intestinal phase, what happens is this lumbricoids will be reaching towards the intestine, that is small intestine and large intestine, and making the person as a more abdominal pain will be there. Because of foreign body which is present in the body, what the person will be exhibiting is, they will be showing having the symptom of nausea and vomiting, then weight loss. So whatever food they are having, it will be taken by the growth of the Ascaris lumbricoid only. So the weight loss will be there, and malnourishment, and that is malnutrition will be there, and the person will be getting the diarrhea as well as the bloody stool, that is dysentery is also a chance to go for getting in this patients. Okay, then complications. So what are the complications are there means, so gallbladder obstruction will be there, and which causing for the gallstones, then intestinal blockage and perforations. So mostly because of this multiple presence of Ascaris lumbricoids, what happen means intestine become as obstructed, or blockage will be there, and perforation also chance is there. Then last one is pancreatitis, which can leading towards the pancreatitis infection, and inflammation towards the pancreas also will be there, one of the complications. So symptoms and complications finish. Then we'll go for the laboratory diagnosis. So in case of ascariasis, so we'll go for doing first of all the microscopic identification. That is, we'll see the adult passed in the stool or not. So or this ascaris roundworm, by the observation itself we can able to see in the stool, like stool, maybe worms are present or not, we can able to understand from that one. And some, because of excessive more multiple presence of the ascaris lumbricoids, so in some time and all, you can able to go for seeing roundworm from the nose. So through the nose and mouth it will be coming outsides, and also so in which case means in the last, that is more multiplication of ascaris lumbricoid is there, means the worms will be coming outside through the nose and mouth. Not only through the stools, it will be coming through the nose and mouth also. The next one is larval worms. So we can able to detection by the sputum, that is sputum. So we can able to understand sputum culture itself, we can able to understand the larval worms and all. Then third one is stool microscopy. That is a stool examination we can able to do, and eggs may be identified, or direct stool examination. So eggs we can able to identify, so sometimes we can able to see directly, or through the stool examination with the help of microscopic examination we can able to understand the larval presence or egg presence. Then eosinophilia. So some can be having the eosinophilia can be found particularly during the larval migration through the lungs. So once the person is having the larval migration through the lungs, means they will be getting the eosinophilia count become increased. So here the laboratory diagnosis. So first one is macroscopic identification by the eyes itself, we can able to understand. So as an adult, as they once they pass the stool, with the viewing itself we can able to understand the presence of roundworm, that is ascaris lumbricoid is present or not. Then so if it is excessive amount of excessive amount is there, means ascaris lumbricoid, it will be coming not only through the stool, it will be coming through the nose and mouth also. The second one is larval forms, that is through the detection with the help of the sputum we can able to identify. Third one is stool microscopic, with the help of stool examination under the microscope we can able to understand the detection of eggs and larval forms and all. Then if this larval migration through the lungs, eosinophilia can be found in the test. The next one is treatment. So we are doing the treatment, infectious treatment we are doing with the ascaris lumbricoids as easily, that is anti-helminthic drugs we can able to give to treat the ascaris and all. So giving example, parental pamotate we can able to go for giving as a single dosage, that is 10 mg per kg we can give. Levamisole we can give, so that also is a single dosage, that is 2.5 mg per kg. Mebendazole we can give, that also one single dose of 500 mg. Then albendazole also we can give, that is single dose of 400 mg. So once you are going for the community sectors and all, means every 6 months they are giving anti-helminthic drugs to the people to go for preventing the ascaris and all. Okay, helminthic action they are going for preventing. So worm infestation and all we can able to prevent with the help of anti-helminthic drugs treatment. So in the community side and all, they are giving 6 months, every 6 months they are giving the anti-helminthic drugs to the peoples to go for preventing the worm infestations. The next one is prevention and the control in the primary preventions and also the primary preventions are sanitation facility, that is human excretion, whatever it is there means it should be as a safe disposal should be there. Then second one is water supply. So water supply, so before drinking the water and all we should filter it off and boil the water at a 100 degrees Celsius. Then food hygiene. So before using the vegetables and fruits, we should wash the fruits and vegetables thoroughly under the running water, and we should go for giving the perfect education, health education regarding the prevention and control of roundworm infestation and what are the complications will be forming due to the conditions and all. Okay, so these are the prevention and control. So we'll take the first step is sanitary prevention, that is primary prevention level, that is human excretors and all, where you have to go for giving as a safe disposal and all. Then before and after the voiding and having food also we should go for wash the hand thoroughly. Then water supply, so whatever drinking water, so before the drinking itself you should filter with the sand filters and all, you can able to filter the water to decreasing the amount of microorganism in the water, and after that one only you should go for boiling the water at 100 degrees Celsius. Then before using the vegetables and fruits you should wash it properly. So this about the ascariasis condition. Then we'll go towards the dracunculiasis. So this one usually it will be seen in African countries and all. So it is also known as guinea worm diseases. So it is a parasitic infection by the guinea worm. Okay, so usually this dracunculiasis is mainly seen in African countries and all. So it is also known as guinea worm diseases. So the parasitic infection is caused by the causative organism is guinea worm only. So the incubation periods, it will be taking 10 to 40 months. So that is the incubation period. A single missed case will delay the eradication by a year or more. Okay, so it will be taking the incubation period of 10 to 14 months, that is a year and more it will take for the incubation period. So then third point is causative organism. So what is the causative organism for dracunculiasis means guinea. So that is guinea worm disease is guinea worm only. So that is caused by roundworm, that is nematodid dracunculiasis medinensis. Okay, so that is a causative organism. Then mode of transmission, the parasite is transmitted to man by drinking raw water containing the infected cyclops. Okay, so cyclops means dangerous or giant molecules, giant organism we can able to call as a cyclops only. So if this guinea worm is present in the water, that is river water or any other water which they are available. So I have told you before, in the ascariasis condition itself, before using the water you should filter the water and then only boil the water, then only you should go for drinking the water. Okay, so this parasite also be as having the mode of transmission of drinking the raw water, that is contaminated water which consisting of this guinea worm. So here the transmission and the life cycle of a guinea worm they have shown in the picture. So first one, the human drinks unfiltered water containing the copepods with level 3 larva. So here what happened is, so level stage is there. So here L3 levels will be present in the water, that is contaminated water which we are drinking. So after once you are consuming, injecting into the body, what happens is the larvae are released when the copies dies. The larva will be going for penetrating into the host, that is our body, stomach and intestinal walls. So once it is reaches towards the stomach and intestine, it will go for penetration the wall of the stomach and the wall of the intestine, and they will, after that one, they will go for the maturation and reproduction will be taking place after the penetration. So what happened for the next means the fertilized female worm migrates to the surface of the skin once after the penetration and penetration of the larva. What happen means it will go for the multiplier, that is fertilization will be taking place, and it will go for the moving from inner towards the outer region, that is into the surface of the skin it will be coming. And how it will be coming means by visualizing of the blister formation will be there. So as we can able to see, that person is having the blister in the legs and all, legs, hands, in the abdominal part and all, we can able, in head also we can able to see. So blister formation will be there, so you should found that. So it will take more period, that is incubation period is long as 1 year is there for the conversion, so it will take time. So this fertilized female worm will go towards the surface of the skin and causes a blister formation and discharge the larva. Okay, so once it is discharged, this larva into the water from the emerging towards the female worm. Okay, so it will be going for releasing from the body, and it will be there in the water. So this female worm begins to emerge from the skin 1 year after the infections. So think that once is exposed, the blister is forming, the larva is coming outside, means you should think that before the 1 year you were infected. Okay, then again same thing. So once after this larval form is discharged from the body, so again it will be there, so it is contaminating the water, and this contaminated water will be consuming by the peoples. So without the boiling and without the filtration and all, what happened, again this larva will be present towards the other body, and it will penetrate the small intestine and the stomach and all, and once it is fertilized, it will be forming the blister like formation in the extremities or anywhere where it is coming out of the skin. So this larva will be expelling out again for the contamination of soil or contamination of waters and all. That's all. The next one is symptoms. Symptoms occurs approximately 1 year after the infection. So here what happened is, a few days to hours before the worm emerging, a person may experience the fever, swelling, pain in the area, then rashes will be there, itches will be there, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea and dizziness. So these are before the egg formation, worm emerges to the surface of the skin. So what they feel means they will experience of fever will be there, swelling in the particular area, and rashes, itching, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea and the dizziness. And the second point is, lesion may lead to the secondary bacterial infections, then which is turned may leading towards the increased pain will be there, may cause some to have locked joint will be there, and permanent scripting will be there. So what happened here, they will be having some joint pains also will be there, and all over the body because of bacteria, secondary towards the bacterial infection, may chance to go for the infection towards the joints also. The third point, each time a worm emerges, a person may be unable to work or resume daily activity for up to 3 months. Okay, so once the worm is emerges towards the skin area, means the person can't able to do the work up to the 3 months. Then emerges usually occurs in planting or harvesting season, leading to heavy crop loss and financial problem for the family. So if this one has told before itself, so here what happened is, once it is arising towards the skin areas and means 3 months the person can't able to work. So when if it came at the time of harvesting time and all means the family will go towards the financial crisis, because the person can't able to do the work once it has emerges. Then last one, worms that do not emerges may form the cyst and eventually calcify. So if it is not coming, so it is on the form of a cyst period, means what happened again and again it will be coming and making the health issues towards the persons. So that's about the symptoms. Then the main treatment is, only thing is, we should remove the worm from the body. So how we can able to remove the worm from the body means, so use blister after the formation of blister. So once you have breakdown of the blister, so this worms will have emerges from the skin, may be successfully removed by the wrapping the worm around a small stick. Take a small stick and round the worm in a small stick. Eventually we should go for, maybe it will take few weeks or a month to go for the removal of worm. Okay, that's why we told however maybe it will take for the 3 months for the recovery of the person. Okay, so if for removing one worm it will take maybe as few weeks or months to go for the recovery for removing the worm. Okay, so there is no successful drug treatment. So drug treatment is not successfully. Then only the removal. The worms may also be surgically removed before the ulcer formation. Before the ulcer formation itself, you should go for remove the worms through the surgical removal. Then for the pain we can give, that is an analgesis, we can able to go for giving aspirin and brufen for reducing the pain and the swelling. Then for the antibiotic, ointment can be used to go for preventing the bacterial infections. So other symptomatic treatment we can able to give like a analgesis, aspirin and a brufen to go for reducing the pain and swelling. And for the prevention of bacterial infection we can give the antibiotic ointments and all. Then next one is prevention. So prevention by giving the health education, that is educate the peoples to avoid the infected prone areas, that is drink water from the underground source free from contamination. So if you are taking the surface water also, what you have to go for doing is filter it properly and boil it properly, then only they should drink the water. Then do not enter the drinking water source with a ulcer. So if your food area and all, if you are having any ulcer formation, do not go to the particular area and go for the drinking water, because through the contaminated water also may be one of the main cause for the condition. Then use a filter of drinking water to remove the copypods. So that is larval stages and cyst stages and all we can able to go for remove with the help of filtering the water. Then unsafe water can be boiled or treated with under the fire only. So boil the water properly at 100 degrees Celsius, and then you can able to go for kill the larval side. Okay, so that are the preventions. Mainly this water through the contaminated water only it is happening. So what you have to go for giving means give the health education. So whichever water is drinking, so before drinking the water you should go for filter it properly and boil it properly. So that's about the two things, that is ascariasis and drocunculiosis, that is guinea worm diseases. Hope you understood. Thank you. So this intestinal infections has finished. So we has learned 10 communicable diseases in the intestinal infections. Okay, thank you.